Are you ready to unleash your full potential and become unstoppable in your success and leadership?
Welcome to the Unleashed and Unstoppable podcast, where we provide powerful insights and strategies for coaches, corporate leaders, and entrepreneurs. I'm Alexanne Carter.
And I'm Carol Register, and we're certified master neurocoaches who are passionate about helping you overcome your limiting beliefs and optimize your performance.
Each week, we'll be sharing actionable tips and strategies using neuroscience, from interviews with industry experts to solo episodes, to help you lead a life of power, purpose, and possibility on your own terms.
Join our community of like-minded individuals. Hit subscribe now, and let's be unleashed and unstoppable together. Hey there, we're back this week again with something that really struck me this week. So Alex and Leanna here at my place and my retreat estate in southern Chile. And we had snow today, which whenever it rains in town in the winter, kind of like I've heard Seattle, then it's snowing in the Andes Mountains around us and on our volcano. But we actually had some good snowfall. It covered everything, maybe 2 inches or so. I'm not sure what the centimeters are, but
And the girls were outside building a snowman, so it's exciting. It's funny when you live in Panama and you come over here, it's exciting. Like you said, Christmas morning, getting to see the snow. Christmas in August, I guess you could say.
Right, exactly. So because we're below the equator, it is winter here right now in the month of August, and it's just been really beautiful. Everybody arrived yesterday. We're doing a retreat walkthrough right now. And Alex, Leanna, and I have been recording this podcast together for over 4 years. We're in our 5th year of doing this with you, together for you. It's a dynamic and it's a synergy. And we've known one another for 7 years because we went through our neurocoaching certification based on, we're not therapists, but it's based on neuropsychology. And we met 7 years ago, October, this coming October. So it's super excited to be here together. And she's been living in Panama, the country of Panama, which is really cool. And you've got a children's book coming out. And if you enjoy the conversation, please do just take a second to like and share, subscribe and share, because then that shares the conversations with more and more people. But Alex, Leanne, what you said to me this week or yesterday, I think it was something that was extremely significant. And you said, I stopped trying to fix myself. So can you talk about that?
Sure. It's funny because when you and I met, like the whole purpose of me becoming a master certified neurocoach was to, and I always say, quote unquote, fix myself.
Fix yourself.
Because really at that stage, that's what the intention was.
Yeah.
I realized that something was off. I'd lost my confidence. I lost my resiliency, and I felt like something was wrong with me. And so as many high achievers do, right, committed to fixing. But I've learned through the years, especially understanding, or what I uncovered, I felt like the fixing piece was that high achiever result, right? Looking for an end result. I want to fix myself. And then with working with yourself, Carol, and noticing your language when you talk about healing, right? Healing your money stories, it made me realize, like, oh, there's more to this. With fixing is very this high achiever, like almost like a checklist. Right. Again, it's like I just want to have this done.
Really
right?
Perfectionist based.
Yes. Like I want to find a solution, I want to fix myself, and I want to move on. Right. Healing, I feel like, is a process, and it has layers to it, which I, as we've learned with neuroscience, new level, new devil. You try something new and you're going to encounter new experiences, right? And that this is, it's a lifelong learning journey. And this fixing myself, I laugh now because it was the original intention. It came from high achievement. It came from, I needed it fast, right? Fast and furious. I want to get
Yeah.
fixed so I can get back to
We
it.
got to
And like,
stop the pain. We got to
mhm,
stop the problem. We got
yeah,
to be, the ideal person right
yeah,
now. And it's that kind of checklist is so different from living in our highest and best selves.
yeah.
True healing is about being right now
Hmm.
in your highest and best
Yeah.
self, no matter what you're dealing with. And knowing that there are beautiful tools to go on this journey in order to be able to do that, to know
Hmm.
we matter, to know we
Yeah.
have that internal approval.
Well, I think it's an identification piece too, right?
Hmm.
Like fixing almost was like there was something broken, right?
Right.
If something is
Yeah. I
like a
loved it. You said, I had to realize I'm not broken. And I went, bing, 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 bing.
yeah,
We're worth it. We're deserving no
yeah.
matter what.
But it's like I
Yeah.
had thought that I was broken,
Yeah.
that I needed these things. It's not
And
like
that's what fixing indicates.
yeah, right?
Yeah.
It's like something is broken, we need to fix it because it's broken, but healing is a process.
Of
Healing,
somebody who matters.
yeah. And
Sorry.
well,
Yeah.
it's
Hmm.
acknowledging it, right? Going back there, it's like I didn't want to acknowledge that like something was quote unquote not okay with me or wrong with me, right? Again,
Right.
all of this really negative verbiage that I
Yeah.
had tied or associated. And I noticed that with many of the high achievers that
Yeah.
we've worked with,
And then
right?
we
There's
get into
this,
I have to push. I have to,
yeah.
it has to happen
Yeah.
fast.
Well,
It's
this identity, right? Like even thinking back what Anne said before, how many high achievers don't acknowledge that they're afraid of something, that there's a fear?
right.
Because what high achiever wants to admit that they experience fear, right? Like that's
Right.
not part of an identity of a high achiever. So when you look and tie a lot of these words to again this
Yeah.
identity of a high achiever and how you might define
Yeah.
yourself or define high achievement. And so we can come detached from the labeling and
Yeah.
realize like I do want to heal
Right.
and I want to
Right.
be able to process
Yeah.
and show up as a different version, a better version of myself,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
Versus just checkbox, like let's move on. Like the
Mm.
like speed, right? Like this
Yeah.
fast speed piece.
Because the thing you're really touching on, which we have talked about quite a lot with identity, is I love that example from Dr. Shannon that you don't look at a baby in a crib and go,
Hmm.
"Oh, I'm sorry, kid, you're not valuable. You're not doing
Yeah.
anything yet." We arrive on this planet valuable. And then we've got voices and messages and environments all along the way that are knocking at that down, that we're not enough, we're not worthy, we're not deserving, we're not valuable.
Hmm.
And it hits our identity, and then we get built this system that looks for external validation consistently. And as high achievers, we've received a lot of that validation. We've received the approval, we received the reward, we've received the success. We want to have rewards and success. Those aren't incorrect, but it doesn't go to the root of who and what we're
Hmm.
the way we're operating.
Yeah.
And when we're not operating from our internal value and our internal approval, then we're very affected by trying to fix ourselves by the external. Oh, if I just do the checklist,
Hmm.
everything's going to not necessarily be okay. When you're in the mindset of fixing yourself, it's going to be enough for me to push to the next level.
Yeah. It's like the baddest solution, or it's like going to get the magic pill, right? And
Yeah.
that's why even
Yeah.
Dr. Shannon will always say there really is no magic pill in neuroscience when you actually heal yourself and allow yourself to go there
Yeah.
because it is uncomfortable. And for
Yeah.
some, I mean, I know
You have to,
myself, it took me a while to actually even admit that I actually was burnt out. I
yeah.
wouldn't even admit to that because if I admitted that I was burnt out, that to me meant failure.
Yeah.
And so that's why I wanted to fix it before it became apparent to people around me. And yet it's so funny how how everything unravels and you
Right.
realize like, okay, there's no hiding here. Like
Mm.
in this, I remember I think I even tried to hide too, right? Like you try to hide and you
Yeah.
try to show up all perfect.
You
It's like,
paste a smile on your face
yes,
and show up, but you're dying on the inside,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
And you're trying to follow the checklist and you're trying to get to the next level. of achievement and success because you've had so much of that
Hmm.
that can become the life of a high achiever. And it's why people step out of executive positions, step off of the corporate world, they step away, they hide, and they shut
Hmm.
down because you're not dealing with the roots of the
Yeah.
issue, which is you are worthy and deserving no matter what,
Yeah.
right? And once you know that, then the healing really begins, I
Yeah.
believe.
And I think that's what that can be
Mhm.
very difficult,
Yeah,
right? Depending on right childhood and
yeah,
experiences, right? If you felt like you didn't feel loved or weren't accepted or that there was
mm,
something at risk,
yeah,
you do kind of have to just put the mask on, put
mm,
the boundaries up and show
show
up
up. Yeah,
in a certain persona and a certain
yeah,
identity that you've defined yourself as,
yeah,
and comes again with these certain definitions. So fixing is fast,
yeah,
fixing is you're going to get that result and you're going to move
yeah.
forward. Whereas, yeah, I think the moment, I mean,
But it doesn't really fix
yeah, I
things.
was gonna say
So
that's
you're
the
just,
short term. Yeah, it's the moment that you
mhm,
choose to really heal yourself and actually go and do the deep work that you're actually getting the real long lasting
yeah,
transformation. And you will see like the end, like the transformation because you're
mhm,
just getting the quick fixes and you're gonna have to
right,
come back for more, right? Versus really like, oh, like I feel lighter, I feel happier, like this
yeah.
authentic
Mhm.
happiness, which
I
is at
mean,
the root, right?
we talk about that with, where then we're not really, that's why I often don't like the word push.
Hmm.
It's an interesting contrast. So I'll bring up an example, but when we're just pushing through something or
Yeah.
we're
Yeah.
trying to fix rather than to heal, then we're just keeping it buried in the
Yeah.
subconscious where it's still going to drive our decisions and results, actions and results. We're not going to know why. Why are we
Hmm.
getting these results? Why are we taking these actions? Why are we making these decisions? Well, the belief that you have that you need to be fixed is still buried in
Yeah.
there, and you're operating from that. But I'm reading a book called The Having. I'm not all the way through, and it's a great book. It's really interesting. It's about having wealth, and it talks about some really beautiful things, including the neuroscience work we do, the subconscious
Mm.
work, and gratitude, and just a lot of beautiful pieces. One of the reasons I'm bringing it up is because in the book she puts, I hope I'm going to say the concept correctly, but she talks about when action comes from a right place, from a
Mhm.
stable place.
Mhm.
So it's not about laying on the couch and trying to manifest. There's definitely productive rest and recharge, but it's about your action then when you're doing true deep healing work flows out of you as a result of that. It
Mm.
happens more authentically and naturally because you're not,
You're not gonna
you're,
push, right?
yeah,
Like as soon as you
yeah,
said that to me, the idea of
yeah.
this push, right? That
Mm,
drive, the push, those fears, that control versus being in that place of surrender and trusting, right?
right,
Which is very can be very foreign concept and
right.
ideas, right? When
Mhm.
you're so
Especially when
used
you've
to
been in a lot of
control.
high level
Yeah.
leadership or a high level role,
Yeah.
and you're used to being in control
Yeah.
of things and having to take a step back and let go of that control and trust and surrender
Um,
so that you can be in
yeah.
control is
And
really
the
different.
and fixing
Yeah.
is being in control.
Mm. Or as
Healing,
being controlling.
yeah,
Yeah.
whereas healing is more of a, I guess, maybe a surrendered process
Trust.
because
Yeah.
sometimes you're
It's
unsure of
letting
how,
go.
yeah, I just let it go.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right? Which can be very scary because
Yeah.
letting go is the opposite of being
Yeah.
in control.
Mm.
Right? And so it's yeah, and it I through
It's,
the conversations that we've had, right? I think I
yeah.
probably still said try to fix myself, even though I have put
Yeah.
quotations around it for years
Well, I
until
think,
like
yeah, we
dawn
all have,
until it
right?
dawned on me. I was like, well,
Yeah.
at that moment, I did want to fix myself. But the
Mm,
moment that I pivoted and shifted, like, oh no, I actually want to heal this. Like, I don't
yeah.
want to have this, I don't want to carry this with me anymore.
Yeah.
I want to be able to let it go because it doesn't serve me.
Mm,
And it's like shedding, right? Like,
yeah.
shedding old layers,
Mhm.
shedding old identity as well, like no longer lying with where I am today, where I want to be
Right.
going to, right? That's uncomfortable
It
too,
is.
when all you've known up until a certain point.
Mm,
And that's where the vulnerability piece comes in, right? That's where, and the true authenticity comes out from that
yeah.
because it's no longer trying to, have this
Have
old
it
persona or something that's just not aligned with where you're
with who
going.
you are. And I want to define too in leadership, there you are captaining a ship, if you will.
Hmm.
And so the interesting thing is I want to define being in control versus being controlling. So being in control, leading a team or leading a vision rather, and inviting in a team to collaborate in that experience is the way, the Wright brothers made bicycles fly, and Henry Ford gave us affordable automobiles, and Steve Jobs created a computer we hold in our hands. I mean, there's multiple examples of good and powerful and authentic
Hmm.
leadership, faults included. The reason I bring that up is because the way I define that is you're in control.
Hmm.
You're in control of yourself, your internal approval, your identity, your confidence, and you're operating from that place versus being controlling. And I think we've defined this before, but I'll define it again. I feel like when you're controlling, then it's false. You can't control everything.
Yeah.
And you do have to have
Yeah.
trust and
Like,
surrender. Right? We have a lot of power we don't step into, but we don't step into it by being controlling.
hmm.
And it's very
Hmm.
counterintuitive, but when you're controlling, it's a place of your system grasping for safety.
Hmm.
And it's a false sense of safety, not a true and authentic sense of
Yeah.
safety.
Yeah.
So I wanted to define that so it makes sense the terminology that I've been using in
Hmm.
regard to that.
So, because I know for me, like a lot of the aha moments of shifting and pivoting from fixing to healing came from your heal your money stories, right?
Yeah.
For you, because I feel like would you say that you have always been on the healing route, or you would say, no, you definitely fell in the trap of wanting to fix?
Yeah.
And then what shifted for you to then pivot from the wanting to fix yourself to, I guess, embracing the healing piece, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I'm so glad you asked that because yeah, I had resistance to vulnerability,
Mm,
right? I came
yeah.
from a place of hiding because of big T trauma, and it's been opening up in levels over years. And it's been a wonderful, beautiful process where I have been able to grow and stretch in those areas. But I think that when did I step into that was when it was an intuitive thing.
Mm.
And it came from the identity work,
Hmm.
right? The
Yeah.
internal
Yeah.
approval.
Yeah.
And so I started to recognize that, and working with my clients as well, I
Hmm.
started to realize that healing had a greater depth and from a
Hmm.
deeper place
Yeah.
from who we truly deservedly,
Hmm.
authentically are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's fascinating, right? Because like it's a
Mhm.
journey as you mentioned.
Yeah.
And it's that, we talked earlier today with Anne about like deciding in advance, right?
Yeah.
So for you listener, like I don't know if I really decided in advance that I wanted to heal. I think it was just a natural progression of finally realizing the shift in
Yeah.
identity from operating from this productivity, high achiever, burnout mentality to like,
Right.
I don't want that anymore. Like that's not
Yeah.
serving me. It doesn't feel good. It's not the route that I want to be on anymore.
And then you
And
get to another level and you
yeah,
do it again and you get to,
yeah.
I think Shout out to the amazing Amy Porterfield. She's talked about that multiple times.
Hmm.
She's building this super successful business. She's a coach who's made over $100 million. If you'd like to check her out. And that multiple burnout was
Hmm.
because she was never really getting to the root,
Yeah. And
right?
so it's like that identity shift of like, okay, I'm done trying to fix myself. I actually want to heal myself.
Yeah.
I'm done with all the fixes.
I want the long-term
Yeah,
result.
yeah.
Yeah.
And so, for you listening today, you might be, maybe under like, okay, well, am I on? I think that's more like the question I'm inviting you
Yeah.
to ask yourself. Like, are you finding yourself that you're always trying to fix yourself?
Yeah.
And or have you decided like, no, I want to heal. I want
Right.
to really heal myself. And this is what I love about how Carol has shifted like the model of her coaching, like with the
Yeah.
retreats and with driving transformation, because realizing, right, if it's just going after the vision, the goal, the dream, and again, kind of the sort of doing,
Mm.
that's one part of the puzzle when it's more than just the brain, it's the
Right.
whole mind, body, spirit connection, right?
Yeah.
That when
We're
the healing,
integrated.
yeah, and the
Yeah.
healing comes from other places, which is what's so exciting to be even here, experiencing where you're
Yeah.
hosting your retreats
Yeah.
and having that awareness piece, right? To
And
really
she just got
heal.
here. We've got some amazing nervous system resets that are on the agenda coming up, including the wonderful snow this morning, right? You just take a deep breath. I felt like a kid on Christmas morning, right? It was really wonderful. I was like, it was delight. I felt delight at the beauty of the snow that
Hmm.
covered everything. And what a wonderful experience. What a wonderful feeling. When you lean into your delight, you're going to
Yeah,
manifest your money.
I love that.
Right?
But it's just
So,
like it's sort of looking at that, right? Looking at there's multiple lenses and looking at not just, okay, there's the brain piece, but there's the
yeah.
physiological piece, the rest piece, and allowing yourself when you are ready to truly heal it.
Yeah.
So I
Giving
wanted,
yourself permission.
yeah, and
Yeah.
so what I wanted to invite listener, like if you are noticing that, because I know for me too, my burnout, I actually started looking at
Yeah.
retreats. Like I wasn't sure what the best method was, right? Of course, when
Yeah.
you learn about your brain, the
Yeah.
automatic was like, okay, I'm gonna go do that.
Mhm.
But the invitation is to connect with Carol,
Mhm.
and what a beautiful way to get to experience all three. It's not having to choose, well, do I want to learn about the brain? Do I want to do the retreat? You actually, when you work with Carol, get the full experience
Right.
and really
Mm.
start from that healing place,
Yeah.
because it does start. I mean, everyone's going to come from different places, but we can have that full experiential like learning of
Right.
it. And I know as a teacher and talking about the power of that with all your different senses, not that I'm saying about the fast track, but I mean, let's also
Yeah.
be honest. I know you're a high achiever, and of course, we do look for ways to experience this in a
Yeah.
more rapid way. Coming to Carol's retreats, being
Mhm.
part of them in transformation, you're gonna get the full, like the works. It's the
Word.
buffet. It's the
Right.
buffet of transformation. Is really what I wanted to say,
Yeah.
because I think if we look at our own experiences, many of
Mhm.
our clients and people that we've worked with, I think what we notice in terms of time, and of course everyone's time is going to be different, but
Yeah.
it's not, it's kind of figuring one thing out at a time, if that makes sense. And which is
Mhm.
why it's so beautiful how you've revamped and revised how you're doing transformation with your
Yeah.
clients now, because you
Yeah.
realize like, oh, wait a second, it's not just one. It's like,
Yeah.
no, it's a combination of all three. And
Yeah.
this is going to rapidly support with the transformation and the results with clients. And I just wanted
Yeah.
to like put that in there.
Oh, we have a visitor. We have a visitor to the podcast. This is Abby. Say hi. Hey. Yeah. So thank you, Alex Leanne. I mean, that is the beauty of it. We get to come in the beautiful electromagnetic energy here where we're on one of five large lakes surrounded by the Andes Mountains and four glacier-covered volcanoes. I liken it to living in a moving painting and start with a nervous system reset,
Hmm.
recalibration in this spectacular nature. And then through the program, you step into my neuro wealth method and we do the deep work so that you can stand with alignment, fulfillment, joy. You can be heart centered. You can really learn to trust yourself and move into much higher levels of wealth than you may have ever experienced before, or learn to enjoy those higher levels of wealth. Because I do mentor executives, and it's important to be able to handle
Hmm.
the money that flows flowing in because it magnifies who you are, right?
Hmm.
So, yeah,
Well, and I have a deeper appreciation for this because I would say like having being in Panama, and there's a lot, there's different opportunities for resets and things like that. So I've got opportunities to participate, and that's
exciting.
where,
Yeah.
I see that more and am a bigger
Yeah,
advocate for the the system, the nervous system reset
yeah,
and the integration of it. Like it's the power of the integration because as you're always saying, we're
yeah,
integrated beings and it's not just targeting one thing. And
yeah,
I think that's really where the shift happened for me. It wasn't just the brain piece, it was the
yeah,
integration. And I included that even in Free to Be Me,
yeah,
looking at I recently reshifted actually the order of the story, and I sat there with Abby and I actually had her place all the pages in how she saw her day because it made me realize the way I'd originally
mhm.
done it and designed the day was again that default
That default.
of
Yeah.
how we assume you will go through a day versus like actually what we're promoting
Mhm.
or sorry, not promoting, but in terms of children, like actually looking how children go
Right.
throughout their day. And it was like this outsider perception until she got a hold of
Mm.
the pages and reordered it. And then I sat there with my neuroscience hat and I was like, hold on a second, pause. Not that I went about it all wrong, but it was so
Yeah.
fascinating to see again pre-programming
Yeah.
of how oftentimes we might plan a child's day
Mhm.
versus being connected to the ebbs and flows of their day and the
Right.
importance of that nervous reset for a
Mhm.
child throughout their day. They don't
Mhm.
go just from I wake up and I go, 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 and I
Right.
crash, which how many, right, with burnout or high achievement, that's what your day looks like.
Yeah.
It's like, no, we get to integrate this in. And so it hit me. Like
Mm.
it's so funny how you don't see it and then you see it. And it was like,
Right.
pause,
Mhm.
wait a second, right?
Yeah.
We want to be the example. We talk about this. And I wanted to integrate them in Free to Be Me as well because it's so important and just really being intimate with like really how
Yeah.
kids function through the day. They don't just like they crash, and
Right.
they be overstimulated. But us as humans, us as adults, the same thing happens,
Right.
right? To
Yeah.
integrate that in. And so that's why just being a huge advocate,
Yeah.
so, so excited for this new venture that you're on, Carol,
Mhm.
and getting to experience it
Yeah.
firsthand, being here in Chile.
Yeah.
And
We've had the
yeah.
boutique hotel for more than 12 years, but we're focused now exclusively on retreats.
Mm-hmm.
And, we've got a couple series of couples retreats coming up, some inner circle, some boardroom out of the box retreats coming up, an adventure retreat. So if you're interested, these are something where I would love to have a conversation with you. And let's leave you all with this. Thank you for listening, for being here, for being a part of our journey. We love you and appreciate you. And next time you're tempted to fix yourself, start the healing journey
Mm-hmm.
instead.
Decide in advance that you want to heal, not fix.
Ciao for now.
Ciao.
Thanks for tuning in to another episode of the Unleashed Unstoppable podcast with your hosts, Alexandra Carter and Carol Register.
If you enjoyed this episode and you'd like to help support the podcast, please share it with others, post about it on social media, or leave a rating and review and subscribe.
That's all for this episode, Wildly Ambitious Leaders. See you next week.